My name's Ron Vrooman, and I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. And would you guys introduce yourself, Jeff, and then Bill?
Yep, my name's Jeff Bowen. I'm in the state of Arizona, and I'm representing my YouTube channel, Sedona Creek Talk.
Thank you, Jeff. William?
Yeah, I'm William Appel. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, representing the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.
What we're talking about today is the real constitutional Republican form of government that we're supposed to have and we don't have. And we haven't had real constitutional government since 1861. Uh, when the southern states decided to withdraw from the Union no longer had a quorum, and without a quorum, they couldn't have a Congress, so they closed Congress. And Lincoln said, no, 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 no. We have to have a Congress. I have to have you guys doing the work that I need done. So they opened up Congress without a quorum for just the Union states that were left. Down in the South, they formed a confederacy and they wrote their constitution, and all that the South did was legal. They didn't do a single thing that was illegal or unlawful. There's a difference there. Uh, but when Lincoln decided to put the states back together, and then somebody fired on somebody, and who knows what really happened. But that's when the undeclared war happened between the states. So since that time, we've been dealing with martial law. Since Lincoln wrote Executive Order 100 and the Lieber Code, we've been under martial law. So some of the things I thought we'd talk about today were courts and jurisdiction, agencies and bureaus, democracy and republic, misprision of felony, enumerated responsibilities, and definitions as it was enacted. So when you write a rule or write a law or do something in 1861, the definitions of that word in 1861 is what applies to that law. They changed the definitions of words all the time. You saw it just recently. They changed the definition of a word everybody thought they knew, and it's not. They changed the definition. I just saw it on YouTube. Merriam-Webster changed the definition of some damn word, but they write the definitions to suit themselves. And what is really at risk here is our whole Republican form of government. So, one of the things I'd like to read right here is this is Article 1, Section 8 of the United States of America's Constitution. And it says that Congress shall have the power to make the laws and impose taxes and etc. Then you read down through all the enumerated powers here, and they're not really powers, they're responsibilities that were delegated to them. And number 14 says Congress to make rules for the government and regulations of the land and naval forces. That's what Congress does. They don't write rules for me and you and for the states. That's not their responsibility, but they do it. And that's driving us crazy because look what they do to us. So I'm out.
No, I think another thing, is the way the words are written as well. Is something capitalized? Is something lowercase?
Yes.
That had extreme meaning back in those days too, and over time that stuff's been messed with a little bit. And when you mess with upper or lowercase and punctuation in any contract, it changes the meaning of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to get on a roll here, which one of these do you think we ought to start with to lead off our very first Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly television program, YouTube program, and Facebook program? And
Well, our message here is to call people to action. We need 45 people on Oregon to be in the statewide jural, right?
yes,
In order to have a grand jury.
Yeah.
exactly. So that's
Which,
what we're looking for in reality is 45 people to stand up in their own name and declare who they are, as in citizen or national. So definitions. Let's go for some definitions. The Real ID law of 2005 that the feds say you have to have the up-to-date ID in 2020 that is furnished by your state's Department of Motor Vehicles to get into a federal building or to climb onto an airplane and take a flight. Now, when they wrote that, in the second paragraph, it says citizens and nationals. So if there's a 1 for citizen and a 2 for nationals that this law is applying to, then there has to be at least 2 classes of people on the land. There's got to be citizens and nationals. When I wrote them a FOIA to the U.S. Department of Justice and the State Department, and I don't know who all, they refused to give me a definition of those 2 words. Now, don't you think that's a little bit strange? But we have a definition, and U.S. citizen is people that are employed by the United States government, which is different from the United States of America, and the military. So if you're a federal government employee from Washington, D.C., or forts, ports, and military bases around the nation, and in the military, or you're an elected representative to the federal government or an appointed person to the federal government, then you're not a U.S. citizen. That identifies who U.S. citizens are. Everybody else is a national. But then they may not be a national because we also have foreign agents on the land. We have registered and unregistered foreign agents. We have, what is it? Peaceful inhabitants. There's all kinds of people on the land, just like there was when there was the revolution going. They say that only 3% of the population was ever involved in the revolution at any one time. The other 97% were still loyal to the king. There was a tremendous amount of people that were loyal to the king. Everybody thinks they wrote the Declaration of Independence and everybody joined in the parade. Not true.
Well, they won't teach you that in our school books, Ron.
That's for sure. You were talking about definitions the other day, Bill. You want to move on that again?
Which definitions are we talking about?
Well, let's go for this one. I'm so unprepared and I had everything all together. Okay, here we go. I thought here we go, but apparently it's not. Here it is. In suits at common law where the value and controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall
Okay.
be preserved. Okay?
Yeah, so then we have a trial by jury versus the jury trial, and people have a misunderstanding. They just hear jury trial and they automatically think that they're being tried by the jury, or that's the thing that is guaranteed by the Constitution. And one is where the judge is actually in control of the jury, and then the other one is where the jury is actually in control of the whole thing, which is the one that was guaranteed by the Constitution.
Correct.
But the wordplay convinces people that they're getting what they deserved in the Constitution, and I guess they actually get what they deserve anyway if they're ignorant to these facts.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's about your peers. You're in the Constitution. It's a jury of your peers, and when it's worded the other way, William, is that judge has really got the control, and that's not constitutional.
Yep,
and the
exactly. And of
judge,
course, we can't trust the judges anymore. Well, for I don't know how long now, but since they aren't taking the proper oath, especially in the state of Oregon, our Constitution spells out what their oath is supposed to be, and they've taken out words out of that oath. The Constitution still exists; it says it what it is, but when they perform their oath and they send it to the state for record, it's missing some words. The words were
this court, this state, that
yep.
determines the difference.
And another word. What was the other word? Oh, man, I had it right there.
Oh,
Go ahead.
you young guys have brain farts too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So while you're thinking about that, William, so when they take the word this state or this court out, that lends to the reason why they have the flag with the yellow fringes, which is a military court flag, military law flag, because that flag is actually taking control of that court. And you can't have both. You can't have this court and this state when you've got the military involved. It's either one or the other. So I believe that's why they do that. What do you think, Ron?
Right.
I read someplace that it was really hard to flip a constitutional republic into a democracy. And they started doing that in Lincoln's time. They flipped it over from government to incorporated government, and they wrote a new constitution, and they started the fraud then. But there were so many people that didn't know there was a fraud going on and were still functioning under their belief in common law that they had a constitution and they had all of these things going for them. So I might get this a little bit wrong, but it's close enough. In 1908, a bunch of attorneys in Chicago again, they all decided that they were going to flip the states into corporations and take away the state government and make it a corporate government so that they could function as lawyers in all the states and do away with as much common law as they could. In Oregon, they got that done in 1910 when they took the Judicial Act from the Oregon Constitution, which was Article 7 original, and wrote Article 7 amended, which flipped the state into a corporate state. That was in 1910. Then in 1946 or 1947, after the Second World War, all of the bar associations got together, and I think it was in California, but I don't remember for sure. And they said, okay, we're going to change from common law to statutory law. That's what we're going to do from now on. And they started changing. And fortuitously or something, I remember my granddad reading the paper, and he said, they've changed from common law to administrative law. And I was in probably the third or fourth grade then. And I remember that. And I thought, wow, but I didn't comprehend everything. Then in 1952, the last common law trial was held in Florida. And since then, everything has been administrative law and under a benevolent form of martial law.
Yeah, so in the Oregon Constitution, the judge's oath is missing the words impartially.
Yes.
Also.
And it's also saying to this. And if you read Article 7 amended and Article 7 original, Article 7 amended uses the word this state.
Yeah, so the words and impartially, the word a, and of this state are all missing in their oaths of office. So they're not actually real judges per the state of Oregon.
Correct. It's a benevolent martial law.
They're military judges.
Yeah.
That's why they're allowed to have those gold fringes on that flag right behind them in those courtrooms.
Or they're administrative magistrates.
Yep.
I've heard that if you bring in their oath and try to present it to them, they might actually flee from the court.
Yeah. Also, another thing, when I was being tried, I kept saying jurisdiction. You don't have jurisdiction. I'm a man and you do not have jurisdiction. And I argued with the judge, and he said, if you say the word jurisdiction one more time, I'm going to put you in jail for contempt. And I thought, wow, I don't think I want to say jurisdiction again, because he's got the power and the cop's in the back of the room. He can give me 30 days in the slammer for contempt. Bang, just like that. Okay, I won't say jurisdiction again.
Yeah, it just goes to prove once again that the Constitution is not in force in that courtroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what we're dealing with.
Stay out of that courtroom.
Yeah, go ahead, stay out of
That's why we did our own court.
Right. Yes.
Here's one that I think is interesting. We have to assemble to do what we have to do. One guy all by himself isn't going to get much done. There's nobody else to pick up the other end of the heavy object. So it takes a couple of more people to do what we have to do. So we formed an assembly. Under the First Amendment of the Constitution, we have the right to assemble. And so we did. And then we did a whole lot of things on Oregon with our assembly. And there's assemblies in, supposedly every state. And the group that we affiliated with, Jim Wright's group, the Republic with the CK, is just one of probably 5 that has a group of assemblies. So there's assemblies all over the place and in all kinds of areas for all kinds of reasons. But we formed the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly because we want to fix Oregon. We want to fix the laws and what's really going on in Oregon and make it function as a constitutional republic again. Some of the other assemblies have different goals, but we went for this one. And along the way, we read about Ex parte Milligan and we read about Lieber Code and we read all of these things. And then we formed a civilian court. And in Ex parte Milligan, it says that if you form a civilian court, then you cannot have martial law on the land.
Can you explain to us what ex parte Milligan was?
Okay. This will be a little bit wrong, but close enough.
Mhm.
Jeff sent me a really good website that had everything about Ex parte Milligan. I didn't know there was that much stuff about it. I really didn't. It was just loaded.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look it up on the internet and you find the right place, and God, what a mess that is. But if you find the right place, it tells you about Ex parte Milligan. And this is basically the deal. A guy in Indiana decided he wanted to turn loose a bunch of prisoners that were being held in a Union prison for Confederate soldiers. And when the Union Army caught him trying to free Confederate soldiers, they decided they were going to hang him for that. Well, then Indiana said, wait a minute, wait a minute. You don't have martial law in Indiana. You don't have the right to hang anybody under martial law. Indiana doesn't have martial law. Indiana didn't even join in the conflict between the states. What the hell are you doing, Army? And then the Supreme Court got into it and said, yeah, you're right. If there is a civilian court on the land, then you cannot have martial law. So that's the truth. But the thing that those devious bastards did was they flipped the entire judicial system into martial law. There is no civilian court on the land.
Until now here in Oregon, right?
Yes, maybe Anna did it in Nevada. I don't know for sure, but maybe she did it in Nevada.
In the
But
territory of Nevada.
yeah, the territory in Nevada. And
That was
after,
that was 1866, the Milligan case.
okay, I
Okay.
don't remember the exact
Yeah.
date, but when we did our civilian court here on Oregon, and we told the Department of Justice, the Department of the Navy, Department of Defense, everybody we could tell. And then we told everybody in the state, not everybody, but the governor and the Senate and the attorney general and secretary of state, 36 sheriffs, and a lot of people found out. And nobody said, no, you can't do that. No, you don't have one. So we got one. And then we tried to do something with it. And what we tried to do was fire Kate Brown, Suzanne Bonamici, Jeff Merkley, and Ron Wyden, because all of them have broken their oath and they're no longer in honor. Therefore, they cannot hold public trust. Therefore, they should be fired. So we told the state and various other places that we had formed our civilian court and these guys were fired. And the Attorney General's office says, no, we don't recognize what you did. Your paperwork's not correct. You don't have a docket number. So we met. You were there, William, and the court met, and we gave them a docket number, and we wrote a new document and gave them 30 days to rebut it, and not one of them rebutted it. And we gave the docket number to them, and the Attorney General that demanded a docket number, after they got a docket number from us, they shut up. And they shut up for 30 days, so they acquiesced to it. When we took that same information to the Oregon what kind of brain fart? Organized. The Organized Militia of Oregon. We contacted them, asked to speak to their JAG officer. We got the assistant because the guy in charge was on vacation or out of the state, guy named David, Major. And I explained to him what we were doing and what we needed and all of that. And he listened. I asked him if he knew about the Lieber Code and martial law, and he says, yeah, that was 1861 or something, 1863. He knew about it. Of course he knows about it. He's a military lawyer, Judge Advocate General's office. They are under martial law, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Then I asked him, do you know about the Lieber Code? He quoted me the Lieber Code. He knew exactly what it was. So then I said, I'm going to send you some information so you know what we're doing and you can help us. I send him the information. I call him back the next week and he tells me, you cannot file a document and have service through the Universal Postal Union Treaty on Oregon. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. How in the hell can he say that the Universal Postal Union Treaty is not in effect on Oregon when we get our mail every day? Everybody gets their mail every day.
Right.
That,
All right. We got like less than a minute, Ron.
less than a
So we're gonna
minute.
have to continue this on the next show. Please ask for people to come for our jury.
Yes. If you will contact me or contact Bill or contact Jeff and provide us with your information, especially if you're on Oregon and you're willing to stand under your own name and provide us with another juror for our grand jury and our petite jury, please contact us. Thank you, and we'll be back.